you know, they take that fat and they take a needle about that big and they stick it in your knee and they jam it in there. And then they take your stem cells and a needle that's a little bigger than that and stick it in there. And so there's, you know, you've got to be prepared to be somewhat uncomfortable for a total of probably, you know, 5 or 6 minutes. But know that it's going to end and it's going to help.
Let me ask you about your family, because this is all new.
Yep.
For most people hearing about things like this, you know, your wife, your kids, all adults, they understand the issues. I mean, how were they? How was it getting everybody on board and your support system? I'm sure they were scared.
Well, it's funny because I had this right before my birthday in November. So everybody was here. It was my 60th, so everybody showed up, which was really nice.
That's good.
Right. And it was, I could tell that they were somewhat concerned, both my birthday and Thanksgiving and at Christmas, because I was pretty hobbled. And nobody anticipated that being part of the process. I mean, literally, I told the doctor, you know, you need to put people on crutches for a couple of weeks when they do this, to give the stem cells and the surgical procedure a chance to just settle down. You know, wear a flat shoe, wear a comfortable cushioned shoe. You know, I felt ridiculous wearing a suit to work with moccasins. Luckily, nobody else noticed, but I did. And you know me, you know I would notice, right? But you know, those are the kinds of things that you have to be willing to do, basically for about a 4-month period as these stem cells go from immaturity to maturity to replication. And then you really start to feel how this is going to start to affect your life in a very positive way.
So it felt like you had just had surgery.
Absolutely.
And you were moving around very slowly as if you had had surgery.
Absolutely.
So how long from the time of the medical procedure till you started feeling, hey, this is working?
Yeah. Dr. Esser used to joke with me when I first was doing my rehab, look, you're the president of the chess club. Because he knows how active I want to be. He's active himself. And it was a way of saying,
chill out. Exactly.
So after about 2 weeks, I was like, okay, now what? He goes, okay, now you're the treasurer of the chess club. He said, I don't want you to do anything that kind of gets you out of your comfort zone. If you feel any pain, I want you to stop. He said, but I don't want you to do anything. So it wasn't until maybe the 10-week mark that he let me do some light spinning on my bike with no resistance. You know, I could kind of walk for an extended period of time, to do some leg extensions, to kind of try to engage my quads, you know, those kinds of things. And I told him, I said, you know, you need to kind of advance that protocol, because people like me, I mean, for 6 weeks, I'm driving myself crazy, I'm driving everybody around me crazy, because I want to go do something. I want something to do, you know, whether it's upper body, whether it's core, whatever it is. But, I mean, they really wouldn't even send me to the beginnings of a rehabilitation trainer until 10 weeks, 12 weeks into the process. So, and I'm glad they did. And the key to the success is being a good patient afterwards, because the science is there, the doctors know what they're doing when they do the procedure, but it's totally up to the patient to have that kind of mindset of, I can give up these 4 months to make the next 40 years better. And, you know, I was probably a 85% good patient. I wasn't 100, but I wasn't 50 either.
I'm picturing that.
I was probably 85% good patient. But to tell you the truth, if I ever do this again, and I would, by the way, I'll be 100% good patient, because I believe in it and I believe it works.
But you should never have to get this done again on your knee?
Well, you know, what if I get knocked off my bike again? You know, But I mean, I rode 50 miles on my bike last Sunday, and I get off my bike and I have no knee pain whatsoever. I used to get out of bed in the morning, and before I would walk across the room, I would kind of steady myself and see where my knee hurt. I get out of bed in the morning, I walk across the room without any problems. You know, those are the kinds of things. I have a little bit of muscle soreness after I sit in the car for 5.5 hours if I'm driving somewhere, but you know, it's not, it's nothing you can't deal with. And I think over time, as I like to think I'm going to get my body back into the shape that I want it to be, that all may go away too.
And I know people are going to want to know about the cost. Is this covered by insurance?
It's not yet, but I think as there's more and more success with people like me, the insurance companies are going to have to pay attention to this, because the cost of this versus knee replacement. I mean, if they're truly interested in people getting better, okay, and that's the big question. Are you really interested in people getting better? Well, then this should be the first thing that's covered to see who it works for, because I think it's going to work for an awful lot of people who are going to avoid having that major knee reconstruction, surgery, implants, and all that. That costs a lot more than this cost.
Is the rehab about the same?
The rehab's about the same.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, the cost varies depending on who you talk to. I went to Dr. Esser in Southeast because of their reputation to begin with. And after interviewing numerous doctors about this process, I had a lot of confidence in the research that they had done and the science that they understood and what the limitations were in terms of where you'd get to, but what to kind of mitigate your expectations to where you're going to be. Like I said, you're never going to have a 20-year-old knee, but you know, if I could get a 40-year-old knee, that'd be pretty good. So
40-year-old knees are good.
That's right, exactly. So, particularly when the rest of your body's 60. So,
what is the cost?
It varies, but I would say that you could anticipate, and here's the funny part, for one knee, right now it's about $3,500. For two knees, it's $4,000. So once they've started the procedure of getting your stem cells and all that, it's only another $500 to do this knee. So I had them do both.
Why not?
You know,
Yeah.
rather than this one and then go back 5 years later and do this one, I just said, you know, let's do them both. And what's funny is that my left knee is, you know, greatly improved. I don't even think about my right knee anymore. You know, it's gotten to the point where it just feels like it's just my knee.
Are you thinking about having the procedure anywhere else on your body?
In fact, when he was done and I looked up and it appeared to have some stem cells and left over, I said, you know, I got this bald spot at the top of my head. You want to stick something in there? Because I heard that it regrows hair.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I have to do more research on that.
That's what they say, right? But yeah, the rest of me's okay. My shoulders hurt. I'm just like everybody else. You know, my ankles get sore, my shoulders hurt. You know, if I walk too far, if I ride my bike too long, if I play golf too many days in a row, just like everybody else, you know, just put up with it. One of the hard parts is when you're getting ready to do this, and we've been working on this since June of 2015, because they want to make sure that the environment that they're working in has a kind of a control group situation. So I started with letting everything that I had done basically expire. And then I had PRP in both knees in June of 2015 to create kind of a controlled environment in both knees. Now it's my blood, it's this, there's no synthetics, there's no nothing. Then you got to go 2 or 3 months without taking any NSAIDs, no ibuprofen, nothing that's going to, you know, upset that. Because the theory is that that deadens the opportunity for your body to repair itself. And then once you have the operation, you can't take anything for another 3 months. And so I wrote Paul Shirley. I said, you know, I'm really struggling here, about 2 weeks into it, sitting on the couch. And I said, you got any advice? And he wrote back, ice and prayer. So that's what I did a lot of.
Yeah. Got you through.
And it worked. That's exactly right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we'll see. I am, I'm happy with it at this point. I'm not thinking about the next major procedure at this point. I'm thinking about the next thing I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking about going riding my bike in Europe. You know, I'm thinking about going to play golf with my friends.
And I have one last very personal question to ask you. You said ice.
I already told you I'm 60.
Yeah, I know, but you said ice and prayer. I'm wondering what that prayer was like.
You know, I think, I don't think you can always ask for stuff when you pray, but I think you just ask for some guidance as to what, just put me in the right direction. If this isn't supposed to work for me, I get it, you know, but let me have the wisdom to, you know, not to be an 85% patient, you know, to not be a 50% patient. You know, give me the patience to do that, to let this work happen. And rather than saying, come on, God, fix my knee, it was more of, all right, look, just point me in the right direction here so I can do the things that are the right things to do, that are give myself an opportunity to have some success. Mm-hmm. And, you know, as has been with most of my life, I was about 85% right. So.
Well, I'm sure your grandson will appreciate it.
Well, that'll be, that'll be fun. And, you know, that's certainly a motivating factor. You know, my children are grown. My youngest is 25 years old. But, you know, in July of last year, my daughter had a baby, and, you know, all of a sudden, you know, I'm sitting in their living room, and he's across the room, and he starts to cry, and I get up and my knee catches, and it actually occurred to me, hey, I don't want to be that guy, you know, sitting on a bench in a park. I want to be that guy, you know, who's out there with him doing stuff and continue to do stuff with my kids. So, you know, it was certainly a motivating factor, that's for sure. Not completely selfish.